So we're going to start by hearing from Dani Worrell. She knows about resilience as much as anybody, and definitely firsthand. She's a gifted intuitive medium. She spent years helping others find healing, clarity, and connection by trusting their inner wisdom. From a young age, Dani was deeply attuned to energies and emotions, and through dedication, she honed her abilities not just to connect with the spirit world, but to also empower others to do the same. In her talk, Awaken from the Flames, Embracing Intuition and Inner Power, she's going to share her personal journey of resilience and self-discovery. She'll reveal how trusting her intuition helped her navigate life's challenges and fully step into her power. So let's get ready to be inspired and trust yourself and embrace your own transformation with Dani Worrell. Did I say your last name right? Worrell? Oh, great. Okay. You can do, move it however you want.
All right. Good morning. We are all born with an inherent set of gifts. Resiliency is not one of them. Resiliency is a tool, a sword, if you will. One that can only be forged in the fire of life and sharpened by the trials and tribulations that we face. Each of us different. We walk our own path. We have our own experiences. Experiences that have shaped us, each individually in our own way. And while all of our stories are different, we're gathered here today with one thing in common. We all carry our own sword. I want to share a story with you about a woman that for many years hid her shining light and was on the desperate search for her purpose. She was always the peacekeeper, the assistant, the quiet strength that kept the foundation in place, making sure that it was sound and secure for others to stand on. I think many of us can relate to this position. We as women were indoctrinated into the belief that this is our place. Our role is one of support. And that's the role that I held for many years. I want to take you back real quick to 2010 when I met my husband. We met in a bar in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is my hometown. It was the kind of meet cute you see in the movies. I was out with my fabulous friend, and we walked into the bar, and he elbowed me and goes, "Ooh, hot guy." Into the bar, long hair. So I looked up, I made eye contact. I looked back at my friend, and I called dibs. Now, fast forward 4 years, we made the decision to move back to his hometown of Iowa City. His career as a chef was taking off, and I had made the hard decision to leave my industry of medical cannabis and come to a place where that didn't even exist. So I started over. I threw myself into the corporate world and hung on to the corporate ladder, forcing myself into roles that I truly didn't belong and truly brought me no joy. But that's what I was supposed to do. That was part of the plan. And I've always done the things that I was supposed to do. I went to college, I got married, I started a family, and I created the life I was told to. And I kept it in a pretty little box. But here's the problem. Our lives are not meant to be kept in a pretty little box. Now, I firmly believe that everything happens for a reason. And we are here on this earth having a human experience. But we get so caught up in trying to control this experience. And as hard as you try to control things, and as tight as you grip onto something, life will always remind you, show you, that you have to let go. This reminder came for me in March of 2022. Until this point, we had worked really hard building our beautiful life. My husband and his seemingly unshakable career, and myself. I was back in my industry of medical cannabis, here in Iowa, fighting on the front lines of an extremely male-dominated industry, yet succeeding. I was the first dispensary manager, female dispensary manager in the state of Iowa. A feat, thank you. A feat that wasn't even possible when we got here. My life, my beautiful box, was so full. But I had spent so much time making things look pretty on the surface that I buried the demons. Placed cheap Band-Aids over the holes forming in the sides. That demon, for us, was alcohol. It was an invisible chokehold, getting tighter and tighter, and it won. That March of 22, my husband fell ill. His skin and eyes had turned a sick yellow color, and I knew in that moment this is something bigger. And I remember being in the ER. Tests had been run, and we were waiting. And I was so angry. I couldn't even look at him. And after what felt like an eternity, the doctor came back, but this time with a team. And the words that left his mouth hit me like a freight train. Liver failure. At 42 years old, my husband's body was shutting down. And not only were we not going home that night, there was a chance he wouldn't even survive if we didn't act fast. It was that moment my world stopped, shattered. The beautiful box that I'd worked so hard to create and fill had been destroyed and set on fire, with me left sitting amongst the flames. That moment felt like an ending, a failure so large we would never recover. And it felt that way for a long time. Everything he had worked so hard for was gone. Our businesses, 2 restaurants, gone. Relationships and reputations destroyed. And I was left reeling. How am I going to fix this? How am I going to shield our child from this? So I did the only thing I knew, and I threw myself into therapy. And as someone who has healed other aspects of myself through talk therapy, I started there. But it just didn't work, didn't click. So I tried Al-Anon, And that also wasn't the right fit. And for months, I continued to search for this external thing to help me heal. But none of it was working. And it wasn't working because I was still quietly holding on to my crutch of alcohol. You see, when everything happened, I didn't quit. I didn't think I had a problem. I had it under control. But it quickly became very clear that that relationship had gone bad. My world was spinning out of control, and I desperately held on to anything I could. But that was the problem. I'd become so consumed, more than ever before, in trying to control things that I lost myself, my hope, my light. Alcohol, the friend I relied on for years for a good time, a coping mechanism, had destroyed my life. And I was at rock bottom. Just me in the self-reflecting mirror, lying in the ashes of what used to be my life. This place, this pit of despair, it was comfortable, and I could have very easily stayed there. But I knew I couldn't. I had to get out. And so I did. Little by little, step by step, I got up, sword by my side, and I fought. Now, this was unlike any other battle that I had fought before, because this time, it wasn't just for me. It was for them. My husband, my daughter, my family. Everything about this battle was different. It wasn't loud and in your face. It was quiet. And for the first time since adolescence, I was sitting with myself with nothing to cloud my mind, and I was forced to feel. And I felt it all. One of the hardest feelings for me to deal with was boredom. Boredom has always been my arch nemesis, and I've always done whatever I could to avoid it. But this time, I embraced it. And I filled that time doing things for myself. Journaling, meditating. I started reading books again and writing, reconnecting myself with nature. And sooner than later, that boredom melted away to show its true form. It was peace. Peace. A feeling I don't know that I'd ever truly felt before. And that's when things started shifting. My battle was no longer a battle. It was a journey. And peace was my guiding light. A light so bright that it allowed me to see the hidden gems still lying in that pile of ash that was my life. One of those gems is my intuition. With my mind clear, it was like a heavy blanket had been lifted, and I could finally see, hear, and feel my connection with energy and with spirit. It was my calling. A calling so loud it could no longer be ignored. So I took the call, and it led me down a new path, one that had never been walked before. This was the true start of my healing journey. It has not been easy. It's been hard, uncomfortable, and sometimes extremely lonely. But allowed me to go deeper within myself, to do the shadow work purposefully, mindfully, so that I could heal beyond this fresh wound. Going down and digging up forgotten trauma on purpose, so I could sit with it, heal it, and release it. This work led me to practicing mindfulness and gratitude, and it changed my perception, and it allowed me to start looking for the good. And now, that's all I see. This horrific, life-altering event, the thing that broke my world, could easily be seen as tragic. But instead, I see it as our greatest blessing. Because that day led to this journey. And it took my world breaking down for me to finally break open and truly step into my authentic self. So when you're going through it and you find yourself in that comfortable pit of despair, know this. You will have seasons that test your strength, situations that feel uncomfortable, and decisions that require courage. But I stand before you today as proof that if you are willing to walk through the fire and surrender to uncertainty, you will see the beauty on the other side. And you will get to the other side. You have your sword. Thank you.